everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who are the pilots with me tonight?
Slippy, Stefan, Gatto, JD.
Peppy, Stuart, Hughes.
And our special guest?
I guess that makes me the Falco, Kendall. You guys, I think I'm going to have to sit this one out.
I heard that a lot, by the way, too.
Yeah. I'm Kendall.
I
say that?
Yeah. Oh, and Kendall, where might people know you from if they're listening to the show?
I was on an episode when we talked about GoldenEye.
Episode 10.
Yeah.
You may know Kendall from Games My Mom Found. Check it out.
That's not what I was referring to, but yes.
I also do other podcasts on the Kendallcast network, kendallcast.ninja stuff.
Yes. I wish I guest starred on a bunch of his episodes, as he on Bulbasaur and a Detective Pikachu episode.
Yep. Good time. Yeah, go check that out. Kendallcast.ninja.
And before we get too far, I want to give a quick shout out to another podcast called Zach and Dean Geek Machines, a podcast for geeks of all background, whether you're consumed by comics, gripped by gaming, or burning for beers. Take a listen to their podcast. It's pretty funny and definitely got some, you need something else to pass that time. And I think I'm going to introduce the title that we're going to be talking about this week, unfortunately. But this was originally one of DJ's picks that was Star Fox Assault, but then I changed it to another Star Fox game. We went with Star Fox 64.
Classic.
It is a classic. It's a classic that as a kid I could never get anywhere because I suck at these type of games. So I never really played it as a kid. I tried. I even had a strategy guide for it, but I could never get very far off those couple lives. Just was bad. How about you, Stefan? You played this back in the day?
Yeah, I actually got surprised with a gift for this because usually on Easter we just go get eggs with like dollar bills in them because that's my family. And they just gave us a basket and there it was just sitting there, Star Fox 64. I was like, holy snap.
Yeah, so, back then that wouldn't have been cheap either.
No.
Games were not cheap when this came out back in 1997. So
were they like $70 or something?
Somewhere, yeah. 80? I know GoldenEye was like 80 or 90 back then.
That's insane.
Thanks, got better.
Well, it's been 60 now as a starting price for a long time.
It's like 60 base now is the standard. Like the base game, any new game base is 60, and then almost every game will have 100 other fucking collector's editions and special editions that just go up in price.
That's it. That you don't need them. I mean, a lot of people. They only make such a limited amount anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna buy a game, like as soon as it comes out, like if I buy a game the day it comes out, it usually means it's a game that I really want or like really care about, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and want the collector's edition. I'm gonna go ahead and regret not having that stuff.
I'm actually the opposite. If I buy a game the day it comes out, chances are I will never play it. Or because it means if I bought it the day it came out, that means that I was completely just wrapped up in the hype and not the actual content of the game, because nobody knew the content of the game. And also I'll add, I'm like super pro DLC and stuff because most of the time I only get halfway through video games anyway. So if you're like, yeah, you can pay $30 to get the last third of the game, I'm like, save $30 because I wasn't going to get to the last third of the game anyway.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. That actually brings up an important thing, that if Star Fox 64 was released today, all those other planets in this game would probably be DLC. Without a doubt.
Well, no, they'd be seasonal updates, but you'd have to have the season pass to get them. So it wouldn't be DLC, but you'd be spending money for part of the game that came out later. But it's not DLC.
Yeah, microtransactions for ship colors.
Yeah.
That kind of happened with a different
game. It's not DLC.
Yeah, isn't there literally a game that made Star Fox the DLC of the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Battle for Atlas. Starlink. Battle for Atlas. Yeah,
it even has star in the name.
And it comes with it comes with a little model Arwings 0 too.
Oh.
The only reason I want it, but I don't have a Switch, so I'm
How is that possible? Because parts of the ship aren't even connected to the other parts of the ship.
They are for this model. That was the graphics of the time. At least
I thought this game held up really well visually.
Yeah, I actually 64 is always like a weird era to go back to because it's that first like 3D era of games, or first like real 3D era of games, I should say. And some stuff just looks like garbage, and some stuff kind of works with it. Like old Legend of Zelda's, Star Fox, even like some old Mario's look pretty good still. Well, Banjo-Kazooie certainly has like a style that I think fits with it, actually.
No, the graphics did look good. Like I did enjoy visually looking at this game. I still thought it looked cool. I mean, especially compared to the Super Nintendo version, this looks wonderful still.
If this had been a PlayStation 1 game, it would have looked like garbage. No PlayStation 1 game has aged well. No.
Well, Pac-Man World still looked kind of clean when we played that.
I think Crash Team Racing looks pretty good, but it's a super late installment. I think PlayStation is one of those systems that like it got better over the course of its lifespan.
There's something about like adding polygons where it's like if you have the minimum amount of polygons it looks good, and if you have the maximum amount of polygons it looks good. But if you're like 2/3 of the way there, it just looks like shit.
There's a term for that. It's called the uncanny valley.
That kind of makes sense. Well, no, because wouldn't it be the stuff that looks like the best would be the most unnerving? Like New Tomb Raider would be unnerving because it looks so human.
So that's okay. Specifically when you talk about the uncanny valley, it's like stuff just when you're talking about like AI and like how human stuff looks. Yeah, you're right that like the more it looks human, but it doesn't look human. But the way that I was using the metaphor was like there's a line somewhere. Point. There's a cutoff point somewhere. You know, just like 8-bit looks really good, but you know, somewhere in between 8-bit and what we have now looks like garbage. You know, the very basic. That's what I liked about this was it was like elegantly designed using 4 polygons.
Yeah.
It's Miyamoto. I mean, most of his games somehow always hold up.
All of his games hold up.
Yeah.
And I will die on that hill.
I mean, that's one of the things about this game is it still looks good. I mean, even though I don't like the gameplay of Star Fox that much, it still plays, you know, fine. Like it's still, you know, it's an on-rail shooter. It still holds up well. I mean, it's still fun to play if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, played pretty good for an N64 game. N64, that controller is like, as the further away we get from the N64 controller, the harder it is to go back to that style.
It's painful.
The more like you forget it over time, you start like repressing the memories of that awful controller that you go back to. And you're like, ugh, I need 3 hands to play this shit.
I was playing on a USB N64 controller because I need save states for this game. I would have never made it otherwise. But I thought that controller still just hurts me. I mean, I'm able to play it just fine. But I don't like it. A couple times I got confused how to do things. I'm like, what buttons do what again?
Yeah, I've got that. The thing I kickstarted for, I forget what it's called, but there was the Retro Fighters N64 controller that I use it for GoldenEye as well. That makes playing N64 games a lot nicer. Although I did end up needing save states, and I would encourage. This game is actually I think it's good with save states. The only issue that I had was that you get 2 lives. Like if you had gotten 5 lives and then gotten an extra life at the end of every level, like if they were just more generous with the lives, I don't even think I would have needed save states.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more
checkpoints too. You can get extra life throughout the levels depending on if you get a high enough kill count or hit count or something.
Right. But it's
it's hard.
I mean, as when I was playing through it, with save states, so theoretically never dying, I got an extra life every other level, which is that's not enough.
Are we talking about Star Fox 64 here? Because this is you could play this with your eyes closed. This game is not hard at all.
I'm sorry, sir. We suck at video games, unlike you.
Well, it's not that it's hard. It's not that it's hard. It's just that I was trying to play it I was trying to beat the entire game in 2 days. And I mean, that's the other thing is if it was 1997 and this was the only game that I owned, that I would have been, and I was blown away by the graphics, I would have been happy, playing through the first 2 levels over and over again until I got through the 3rd level, and then over and over again until I got to the 4th level. I was just trying to power through it. I just think that it actually, like, it holds up as a modern, like, the difficulty is such that it holds up as like a modern game if you use save states, or if it was more generous with the lives.
Well, it comes from that era where every game was like an arcade game that you had in your house. Like that's how games were viewed back in the ancient days of 1997 or 93, because this is like a remake of the original Star Fox, really.
Close to. That's why they never released Star Fox 2.
Yeah, or it's not a remake; it's like a reboot of Star Fox. But yeah, like the same basic premise. So it's like a rail shooter that you'd find in a arcade that you could just play at home. So realistically, you just like keep going at it again and again and again for like over the course of a couple months until you could beat it without dying.
Yeah. But like the difference is, we live in the world of free to play arcades. I don't know how many free to play arcades are around you guys, but there's several of them, and they serve alcohol, and it's awesome. Near me.
There's one near me.
One thing we have is David Buster's.
Like you play through,
everything at David Buster's.
You play through like the X-Men arcade game, which is like universally loved. But if it's on free to play mode and you're just brute forcing your way through it, like that's the game, like it sort of reveals the weaknesses to the gameplay. And I feel like this game, having played through it with save states and stuff, like it actually revealed how strong the gameplay was, because I didn't actually end up like, it was just like these like little spots where I'd have to, reload my save a bunch of times. Most of the time I actually did kind of cruise through it. With minimal difficulty. I mean, with reasonable difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like training wheels like easy. I mean, there's some like bosses are not easy. I'll admit to that. But
it's got a nice balance of throwing a shitload of like nobody minions at you before throwing you into like a big boss fight with an actual character.
Gotta do a lot of dodging.
Yeah,
barrel roll. Do a barrel roll.
My only complaint is that the about the boss battles, like it was very awkward to tell like when my ship would go close versus far, like back and forth, and then like I couldn't like point my gun at places. Like I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it would have been better if I was chasing the boss, or if he was chasing me, or even. Like,
well, there was that one where you do like the trench run, like the Death Star trench run after the boss.
Oh my gosh! When we get to talking about that, I got a story about that guy.
Before we go too far, one thing we should say that we hadn't mentioned yet, well, we did mention there is a map, but this game actually has different paths depending on how you play. If you play a level a certain way or destroy a certain thing, you can unlock a harder path versus an easier path.
Mm-hmm.
I took the easier path, of course.
I didn't unlock anything.
Yeah, to say this game is just a rail shooter would be significantly underselling it. Like there's a lot going on.
There's 3 different ways I think there's 3 different paths to get to the final planet, which is Venom, which is also something that's really cool about a game at this time, which, I mean, because normally this game, if you're good at it, can take, an hour, 2 hours to play through it, I want to say, if not less.
Yeah.
If you know,
it took me 4 hours, but...
You're also not the only one on screen. Like, it's funny, we probably should have put this in place of, like, Ace Combat, because this is so much of an Ace Combat game. But, like, this game has, like, the wingman system, where you've got Peppy and Falco and Slippy, like, flying around the screen as well, and you've got to help them out. Like, they'll have enemies chasing them.
Yeah. How come I always had to help them out, and they never once helped me?
Because you're Fox with fucking Cloud, man.
Like that,
and he's Slippy Toad.
The level where you have to destroy the core. Every time I turned around, 3 of the bosses were following me, and yet still all of my wingmen got destroyed in that level.
The wingmen are not. I don't think they're very good, and when they die, they're out for an entire mission or so.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Which makes things easier, I guess, because you're not having to freaking bail them out constantly.
Help me out! There's someone on my tail!
It's almost more of like when they're alive, they're more of like an escort mission type thing.
Yeah.
Like they don't provide any assistance really.
Well, and like in the first 2 levels when I was playing it, they'd be like, "Help me out! Oh, I just got destroyed."
Well, actually, they do provide some assistance, but it's very minor. Like Slippy will give you like the bosses. He'll give you like the HP bar on the side of your screen. After a while, he'll be like, scanning.
Oh yeah, scanning shields. But he does that even when he's dead.
Yeah.
So, he's like, I'm sitting in the cockpit of the big ship, the Great Fox.
Well, Peppy and Falco stop helping you after they die.
Yeah.
But Peppy is just annoying to me. Like his advice is always really obvious or shitty. Where he's like, "Don't get shot, dodge their attacks." And it's like, yeah no shit, Peppy.
He's like, just like your father.
Yeah.
Everybody's obsessed with my dad. I
want to
make my own.
Peppy, God damn it.
Peppy's voice is like the first thing you would hear if the apocalypse started. It's just awful.
They're coming at you.
I didn't mind Peppy as much as Skippy. And then I just realized I just put 2 and 2 together. In that level where you have to destroy the core, Skippy got said that she was leaving like way early on, like embarrassingly. I didn't realize I was supposed to destroy the core in that level, so I was on that level for a long time. And she was just flying around, and I'm like, why is she still flying around? And it's because the story reason is that she crashes after that, I think, or something.
Well,
something
Slippy
like that.
Is actually a guy.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. But yeah, it sounds very like
male pronoun.
Fox, we gotta do this thing. It's like, shut the hell up, Slippy. He's just the most he is considered one of the most annoying video game characters. That's not me saying that. That is just like general knowledge. Like a lot of people put him on most annoying characters lists.
The consensus.
Yeah, he's just so fucking annoying. Oh God, Fox, I'm going down. It's like I'm sitting behind the fucking stick, going like, good. Stop talking to me, Slippy.
Did anybody play this in first person at all? I did a couple times just because there were a couple parts where I needed it to help me situate where I was at.
It's kind of like Rogue Squadron. Like every once in a while, you just want to flip it over and try it out, but then you never really stay in it.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's not like the best way to play. It's like it goes back and forth between. It's the same thing Star Wars Battlefront does, where like first person in the ships is really cool, but you realize very quickly that you need to see what's going on around you. Like third person is just always easier in any game, unless you're inside a building. Third person's always easier.
Most of the time that I was in first person was when I was trying to do like a barrel roll or a flip or something, and I pushed the wrong button.
Okay, so we should talk about this real quick. It's actually not a barrel roll; it's an ailment roll.
Aileron roll.
Aileron roll. That's what
they call a barrel roll.
They call it a barrel roll, but they are wrong.
Okay.
Yep.
But also, who gives a shit?
This is Star Fox language. It's not real world language.
Yeah, this is true. This is a world where
we don't have Fox piloting our aircraft in the Air Force.
Yeah, every Predator drone has a Fox duct taped to the front of it.
Yeah, why do you think they call it a Predator drone?
That's why they cost so much money. They have to go catch a Fox every single time
and train them.
Yeah,
train them to be a pilot.
Yeah, and every time one crashes, they're gonna go send a team to rescue the Fox. They have to send Snake to go rescue the Fox. Snake? Fox?
That was actually kind of funny. It shouldn't have been, but it made me laugh.
Talking about that, actually, there was a Star Fox does have a connection with Metal Gear.
Smash Brothers?
Well, yeah, that too, but
where were you going with this?
They're in Smash Brothers, Slippy shows up in. He shows up in Melee in the background, right? But in Brawl, like he and Snake will talk about the Shadow Moses incident.
Oh
shit!
Okay.
I just realized, crap! I was gonna make a joke at the beginning of the podcast and I forgot to.
You can make it now. I can edit it and put it in the beginning. I won't, but I could.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
We're gonna put it at the very end.
I was gonna say that it was so weird that they just used Super Smash Brothers music in this video game.
That is kind of funny.
But
Crazy.
yeah, but apparently,
And
but I
level
totally
levels.
forgot. Oh my gosh.
And they go so
Welcome
far
to
as to use the
Games by
Super
Mouth
Smash
Ball.
Bros. Level. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Get your own ideas,
Yeah.
Star Fox.
No,
I wonder. That was also one of my. Thank you for bringing that up. That was one of my first introductions to Star Fox. Was 64 because I never played the Super Nintendo game. I knew of this game, but I kind of stayed away from it because I suck at these type of games. But it really was. That's what pulled me in with Smash Brothers. That's what got, because Fox was my main back in the day in Smash. And I just liked it.
Those people.
Yeah, you seem like a jerk. Most
You
jerks.
seem like a
Fox
jerk.
is their main.
I can't talk. If I play Smash Brothers, the only character I can play is Pit, just because that's the only way I can not die. If I just play Pit and I never touch the ground, I'm that asshole.
Man, you played Pit in the original Smash Brothers? Did you
Yeah,
have like
I had a modded
hack?
in, and it was crazy.
Oh, one thing we hadn't mentioned
you
yet.
had the
is,
Japanese version?
Yeah. Super
Is-
Smash Brothers. It was a different game.
is you have your team, which is Star Fox, Slippy, Falco.
The Wolf Team.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I forgot. Also, I couldn't. And Peppy, and you had the Wolf team, which is Wolf, Star Wolf, Pigma,
O'Donnell.
Andross's nephew, I think, because it couldn't be his son, so it's his nephew.
Yeah, it's Wolf O'Donnell, Pigma Dengar, which is a Star Wars joke.
I never caught that before.
Yep, Dengar is one of the bounty hunters that goes after
Bounty
Han Solo.
hunters.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the guy who's wrapped up in toilet paper.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's in my Dengar with blaster carbine is in my Star Wars card deck that I'm going to be playing out in Continentals next week.
I love Dengar's weird history in Star Wars. Like, Dengar has a weird cult following, despite just not really having any screen time, not saying anything, and just being a guy wrapped up in toilet paper.
I mean, it's cool. His Tales of the Bounty Hunter story was pretty good. It was top 3.
And then
His jokes in the Robot Chicken Star Wars specials are easily my favorite Star Wars jokes they make. Where he flies a giant toilet and he's like, "Look out, everybody! It's Dengar."
what is the name of that chameleon guy that no one cares about?
Bosk.
Okay, he's the other one that's part of that little crew of the Star Wolf crew.
Yeah, Bosk had the worst tale in the Tales of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
Bosk, Dengar, Zuckuss, Forlom, IG-88, Boba Fett.
Who's my favorite? Yeah. IG-88 badass.
Zuckuss was always my favorite.
The chameleon for the Star Wolf team. I
We're
know
talking about Star Wars now.
I know. Come on
No
now.
way.
I
There's
guess
a
that
great
star in the name, so
sequence
you're
in,
like, screw the fox.
There's a great sequence in the Star Wars Clone Wars show where Ahsoka's on a ship and she crashes into a warehouse and it's just filled with IG-88 assassin drones.
Oh, I need to watch that.
That's great.
So the thing about Star Wolf and his team
Thank you.
is both times they show up.
I thought you were gonna say, so the thing about Star Wars.
I did too.
Both
Both
times they show up, you don't kill any of them, or
Yeah.
at least I didn't. Like you canonically lose the first time, and then the second time you blow up the core. Like they're not at all related to the objective. And I spent like 45 minutes trying to fight them on the one where you blow up the core, and I was like, I just hit this guy like 8 times, and he's still at full health. What is going on here?
Yeah, I always had this weird idea that it would be really sad if somebody donated an N64 to like an orphanage, and the kids were playing through that fight, because those guys talk a lot of shit, and one of them says like to Fox, "Too bad your dad's not here to see you fail."
Yeah.
Like how sad that would be, just playing that game and having to hear that.
I killed 3 of the 4 in that level where it blows up the reactor. I couldn't kill the nephew. I never did kill the nephew. I never did kill the nephew, but I almost killed him. Then the level ended.
Well,
But-
it goes back and forth between. I was very confused by the timeline because James, Fox's dad, for some reason the other Fox in the game is named James. There's Fox and James. So one name was pretty uncreative. That's like, oh yeah, my dad's name is Casey and my name is Human. Hi, I'm Human. Yeah, so James gets killed, and then it's like a couple years later, and Fox is a grown up, and it's like, what? Wait, was he supposed to be a kid when his dad died? What's going on here?
I mean, how many years do foxes live?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Did they grow up or like, do they age in dog years?
I mean, at first I had thought that the original Star Fox was a story of his dad, because I never played the original one on Super Nintendo until I found out that no, that's not how this works.
No, it's still Fox. Yeah.
I beat the first level of the Super Nintendo game so that it would unlock the Star Fox 2 in my SNES Classic, but then I never played Star Fox 2.
From what I've heard,
it's also
if you didn't like this game,
so the old games aren't canon in this one.
I liked this game. Why did you think I didn't like this game?
Because of our conversation before.
Because I was that was while I was playing it.
Okay.
This also comes back to Mike not being a survival horror fan, because he'll talk like I imagine if you talk to me and Stefan about any game, we're like, God, fuck this game, God damn it, and then like a day later we'll be like, oh man, that was really fun. I had a lot of fun playing that game.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, especially with Mega Man and Resident Evil.
See the problem. What would have been a lot better? I think my gameplay experience with this would have been better if when Mike told me that I was going to be talking about this game in 6 months, I had started it before yesterday or 2 days ago. 2 days ago, because we're recording on Sunday. I thought we were recording on Saturday, so I binged through the whole thing on Friday night, except for the final boss, and then I realized that we were recording on Sunday. You're meant to beat. This game doesn't have saving in between levels either. It's meant to be played in one run, and you go one of the 3 paths that all lead to Venom. Each planet will have different bosses and different things happen. Like I'm right now looking at screenshots and I'm seeing levels that I never even I didn't do because I didn't go different paths.
Right. So
beat the game and said, fuck it, we're done.
So for example, like the first level, I think it's Carnaria. Like right before you get to the end boss, if you lean right, there's a waterfall right there, and you can just go through it and it'll take you to a secondary boss.
Yeah.
And then after that secondary boss, you'll go down a different diverging path in the galaxy. That makes up the world map. Which makes the game longer and more difficult.
I like that you fly through a waterfall and that somehow leads to a different part of the galaxy. Like there's a wormhole in the back of it. Like realistically, you'd still finish that planet and then go to the next planet. At no point would you be like, all right, well, you defeated the waterfall boss. Time to go.
Butterfly flaps his wings.
Yeah,
and it just completely changes your future.
I immediately flew into that fucking waterfall because this is an old N64 game. There's always a secret behind the fucking waterfall. I also played Star Wars Starfighter, and when you're on Naboo, there's a bunch of waterfalls you can fly into and get better ships and stuff, or get like upgrades to your ship. So I was like, yeah, this is a flying game. This is so much of this game is based off Star Wars. It's got the Star Wars mentality. There's something behind that waterfall.
Mm-hmm. I never even thought about that. I don't even remember this waterfall. I just went through the whole first level, beat it. Well, I just wanted to go the easy path anyway because I suck at games like this. Like I had to save state. Even the first time I was playing in the first level, I had a couple issues. Then I got the hang of it and I was okay. But yeah,
it takes a second to get used to. It's not super slow. Like some of the flying and some of the levels can vary from like super fast to super slow. Plus, you also have to factor in the fact that some of the levels that you're not even flying, you're in a tank or you're in a submarine.
There's one submarine level which I didn't play because that's on the hard path, but I did see a YouTube video of a speedrunner doing it. That looked annoying.
So if there's all this extra content that's like the other paths and stuff, why is the multiplayer so bad?
I never played the multiplayer.
Oh man,
probably an afterthought.
Yeah, but like that's what most people spent most of their time on. I thought that's what this game was known for.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like GoldenEye, and it was just kind of tossed in, like, oh yeah, multiplayer.
But it's like,
what is the multiplayer in this game even like?
The multiplayer is you have either point match, time trials, or battle royale. Which basically point match is you fly around in the stage and try to shoot each other for like 45 minutes and you get to 3 points. And then time trial, you have a limited amount of time, which sounds like a good idea. And then battle royale, I think people just have one life, which is also a good idea.
It's free for all, one life. Which, by the way, I'll get on my soapbox here for a second because everyone always says now that like PUBG and those games started the battle royale game movement. Fucking battle royale modes were around forever. Like I remember playing Halo, early Halo, and setting it to one life multiplayer with like going in with like 4 people, and that's battle royale. People were like, "Oh, PUBG started the battle royale thing." Like, fucking no, it didn't. Battle royale has always been in games, and Star Fox even called it the battle royale mode.
And actually, I will say that it's actually not that bad. I was exaggerating. My only complaint is that there are only 2 stages. There's Cornelia or whatever the first planet is, and then like Venom or something. I forget if it's Venom or one of the other like later stages, and it's really bad with 2 players because it's literally you're literally just it's one-on-one dogfighting. It's better now that I've played through the campaign and I like kind of actually know how to do a barrel roll or do a somersault or whatever. I was able to beat my wife, so although just barely, because we kind of both crashed because I kept running into buildings when I was shooting her, but we both crashed, but she crashed right before me, so I won. But it's just like they have all these extra maps that they've developed. I mean, I think it was mostly just the 2 maps that they had were mostly just like existing maps from levels where you'd fly around. I mean, you could easily have just had the one with the planet, the one with the core.
Yeah, that's probably just an afterthought. Where like, well, see if this game came out today, all those maps would actually be you have to do like the season pass to get all the maps. And
I don't know. It just is like, because I felt like, I mean, I didn't realize that there was I knew there was a campaign, but like a meaningful campaign in this. I thought most of the game was the multiplayer because that's how, when I was a small child, the same jerk that owned GoldenEye and kicked all our butts would kick our butts at this. And I think I resented it because it wasn't as good as X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which is probably still true.
Probably, yeah. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is a really good game. The multiplayer for this game was also always bizarre to me because I also had a friend that was a jerk that had this. And I remember we had to do in order to unlock, you can unlock different vehicles or like, I guess. So the multiplayer, you play as the Arwing spaceship. If you play through the story and get medals, you can unlock different ways of playing multiplayer. So you can play the Arwing spaceship, or you can upgrade to the tank, the Landmaster tank, and then you can also upgrade to just being on foot, which is not how that progression is supposed to work. You upgrade from spaceship to on foot with a bazooka.
Which is just weird that they even put that in, because nowhere else in this game but that multiplayer do you do that, where you run around with a bazooka. That is not this game at all.
And you have to unlock that. It's so bizarre to me.
This was a bizarre game. Especially for someone that doesn't like flight simulators or these type of games, it was bizarre.
I would love to see like Star Wars Battlefront 2 try that tactic where everybody starts in Starfighters, and the more damage you do, the more likely you are to be put on the ground on foot.
Oh, but another thing with Star Fox, I mean, this is kind of more Star Fox in general, but it tends to these characters are always returning. The character they introduced in this game, Star Fox team, the Star Wolf team, just whatever the hell the sergeant is, all of them, they stay. And so does Andros. I think Andros is always the villain, I think.
Well, it's a Nintendo game, so it's not like...
Yeah, just like Zelda, Mario. What am I saying?
You say that so like forlornly, but I like
that part concept didn't come in my head as I started talking. I'm like, oh yeah, I sound like an idiot now.
But it's a Nintendo game. The bad guys are always the bad guys, except until like just recently. But the bad guys are always the bad guys. The good guys are always the good guys, and the bad guys' minions will eventually join your team. That's like the rules of Nintendo.
Oh, and like. I mean, they do, like, one thing I know we kind of touched on a little bit, like, there were so many different bosses in this game, which I thought was pretty cool. And I know some of the boss fights were in what's called all-range mode, which we haven't mentioned yet. All-range mode is where you have, like, this big arena to fly around in, and you can turn around if you get to the edge of the arena to stay in it. You can brake, slow down, or boost to shoot the guy you're going after.
So who was in all-range mode besides the first boss?
I feel like a couple were. I know the generator fight that you hated so much, or the core fight
That's not
that
a
has
boss, though. Does that count as a boss? It's
feel like
just
there were
sitting there in
others.
the middle. It's just a cylinder with the
There's other
yellow
bosses in all
boxes
range,
on it.
aren't there? I'm not crazy, right?
Not in the. I mean, not in
Alright,
the crappy. Not in the. I'm bad at this game mode.
Easy mode, maybe not.
Because most of them were like that awkward. Like they're right in front of you, and you can. It's kind of 2D, but also
weird.
3D.
Where you can move to the left, to the right, up and down, like you have the whole area to move around, but you stay in front of the enemy, and they sometimes will jab at you with something or shoot at you. That was strange.
So you played the easy route, Mike, so you didn't get the true ending.
No, I know what it is, but no, I didn't get it.
Yeah, this game had 2 separate endings depending on whether you played easy or hard. I think there's also a medium route, but I don't know what that
So
gives you.
the good guys won in my ending. What happened in your ending?
It's the same.
It's just a slightly different, yeah. In the easy ending, Fox shows up and kills Andros, but Andros like survives and it's just like drifting in space. In the hard mode, you like fight Andros, and it turns out like you fight him, and it's like a second form where he's a big floating brain, a la Metroid.
With eyes.
With eyes, yeah. And your dad appears and is like, "Here's how to get out of the planet, son."
Yeah, you have your Star Wars moment.
Yeah, it's
Use
literally
the
Star
Force.
Wars. It's yeah, just
Use the pushtail.
But it's really like use the GPS. Here's the map. You have a map, idiot.
And I know in that ending is where
it's-
you like have to fly through like a tunnel, and there's things trying to kill you or close in on you or something, right?
It's escaping the Death Star. This game is so Star Wars. I love it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, because the entire this game is just Star Wars Starfighter.
I liked the part in Star Wars where Luke was driving down the Death Star trench and there was somebody in front of him and he didn't realize that he was supposed to shoot that person, so he just kept driving straight for like 20 minutes.
It turns out Luke totally could have saved Wedge. Just only the idea Luke let Wedge die because he was kind of annoying.
I mean, Luke does save Wedge. Wedge survives.
Oh yeah,
You're
Wedge.
thinking
Who's
of
the other
someone
guy?
else.
I'm thinking of the other dude who's like
Perkins or something.
Porkins.
Porkins.
Porkins,
Because he's fat. Yeah, he's fat, so he's Porkins. Because George Lucas is great at coming up with names.
One of the dumbest parts in this game, though, that at least I mean, it unlocks a level, but it was so stupid. If there's a boss you fight in space, of course, and Slippy will drive into the dumbass boss and get hit by him if you don't do something, and then that's how you unlock one of the levels because Slippy crashes. You have to go drive the Landmaster tank to go rescue him.
Oh no, Fox!
Okay, I did play that level.
That was so stupid.
Yeah, because Slippy fucking crashes every time because Slippy's a goddamn idiot.
Oh no, Fox!
Hey, it's just this cat. I never saw Cat in this game. The purple cat.
I don't know if she's in this game.
Yeah, there's a. I'm looking at a screenshot of Star Fox 64 with Cat, the purple cat in this game.
I don't recall her.
Cat's
I
I don't either. Somebody out there will know what I'm talking about. Unless I'm looking at something that's not real.
No, I guess she was.
Do you know Kendall? Yeah, I don't think so.
Cat Monroe is a female feline acquaintance of Falco Lombardi, both having a past history together as colleague pilots. But it has never been revealed what they used to do, save that they were both in the Hot Rodders. I'm reading the wiki page for her now. Why does she have like boob armor? Why does she need boob armor if she's a fucking starfighter?
Because
why do you need armor at all if you're in a starfighter?
If you're starfighter, what if it's shrapnel?
Yeah, but like
Fox
Fox and Falco and Peppy and Slippy don't have armor. They just wear like normal clothes. But Cat gets boob armor.
Because if you got shot, your ship gets shot, it wouldn't matter. You'd just be dead. It wouldn't matter what the hell you're wearing. Just over.
I guess I'm asking too many questions of a.
I mean, we were just literally talking about a level where a character gets shot down and lands on a planet. So
it doesn't just die in a
doesn't just die immediately. Yeah, no. although he is picked up by a plant monster while he's still inside of his ship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was Cat in the Great Fox? Was like she one of the pilots in there at the end? Because it shows you like who's in the ship. And okay, also I have an issue with that because it shows you like who's piloting the ship. And there's a robot on there named Rob64. Why isn't that Rob? That would be it's such a perfect like Nintendo self-reference. Why isn't it Rob?
I think that was the joke.
It's definitely a reference to Rob.
Yeah, but just make it Rob. Like, Nintendo owns Rob. They could just make it Rob.
Nobody wants to.
For those who are confused by us just saying Rob over and over again, we're talking
Rob is an original character that was in Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Yeah, he's never existed before. For those who don't know, Rob was like a weird game periphery that was designed to kind of like clap along and make funny noises when you were playing a game.
Stupid. And it actually had 2 games
he
can play along with.
He was packaged with the early NES consoles to make it seem like the NES was not a video game system, but that it was a toy.
Yeah. Occasionally
he'd like crash.
Occasionally he'd like turn around and look at the screen, but that only worked if you put your NES in front of the screen. If you put Rob anywhere else, he would just stare at a wall.
For any of those actually curious all about the Rob, there's a video by the Gaming Historian on YouTube that talks all about Rob.
It's an pretty interesting little toy periphery thing. I wouldn't mind something like that coming back as like a fun little thing Nintendo could do, because I mean,
all the Amiibo.
That's true, yeah. But like, there's a bunch of like weird periphery that Nintendo puts out that's always really fun and strange, like the whole Nintendo cardboard thing they're doing now.
Oh god,
Labo, yeah. Well, there's Labo and cardboard. I think they're slightly different. I don't know.
Stupid.
But yeah, like, so there's a robot in Great Fox that's like piloting it, named Rob 64, but it's not the Rob that Nintendo made. It's like a different robot that just is also named Rob. And it's like, it'd be such an easy joke for them to just put Rob in there.
You think he's just on the ship, like, playing Atari?
Yeah.
Like, that guy's playing Atari. You didn't think we would notice.
Occasionally turns around, the ship just spirals out of control, stops paying attention. Take a stare at the wall behind him.
This game. I just don't know about this game. I
don't know why I had such an issue with that. It's just from a development standpoint, it seems like it'd be such an easy thing to do.
It's really funny because I thought it was clever just that they were referencing Rob.
I did too.
Because this would have been like in that time period where it was like long enough after the original Nintendo stuff. Like people still were like, "Oh, remember the original Nintendo? It had Duck Hunt with it." I
like how these people who are 90 years old were playing it 5 years earlier.
Yeah,
I remember 5 years ago.
I don't know. I just remember like being in like daycare when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and then like the 25-year-old the 25-year-old chaperones were there like talking about the original Nintendo that they had played 10 years earlier, like it was an antique, like but
for anyone curious, by the way, I looked it up. A fox year is one human year is about 5.7 fox years.
So a few years later would be like 20 years later.
Yeah. One human year is 10 guinea pig years. And 20 hamster years. Guinea pigs are living way longer than hamsters. Holy shit.
Sounds about right.
I'm switching it to guinea pig facts now, people.
Oh god, this why.
Oh, but wolves actually live longer than foxes, so.
All right.
Star Wolf is probably going to be around a little bit longer than
I'm starting to get this feeling that maybe we should go to the listener feedback part now. We're talking about guinea pigs.
Oh, I just wanted to make one more comment before we move on. I really liked the aesthetic. I don't know that I've ever played like an on rails, like you start at the beginning and you go to the end of the level 3D shooter like this. I know it's a whole genre, but I don't know that I've ever played it before. But what I have played is the 2D shoot 'em ups, the Gradius style stuff. Even as old as Space Invaders and stuff. And I really liked the way that they sort of translated the types of aliens that you would see in like Gradius that were like, some squares next to each other, and they made it into some polygons next to each other. It just like the way they moved, even like there's the one guy that like is like, it's like he like draws lines and goes over and then down a little bit and then over the other way and go down a little bit. Like that looks like something that would have been in an Atari game, but they've translated it to 3D. And I think that was a really neat aesthetic that this game had during those battles.
Yeah, it's essentially like Nintendo didn't really create this game. It's kind of like 3D Galaga. It's essentially
right.
But it still looks awesome for being a 64 game.
It holds up. It just holds up really well. I think Nintendo 64 is like even though it's the first polygon console, it's got its foot in the past. Maybe it's because it's a cartridge, maybe it's because of whatever else, because the game doesn't save, there's no load times. But like it's got its foot in the past in a way that I think that the PlayStation 1 did not. Like the PlayStation 1 was kind of trying to look forward, which, obviously looking to the future is good, but also sometimes when you have your foot in the past, you're doing things that are a little more timeless because you're doing things that have stood the test of time.
The PlayStation 1 was an important sacrifice to get us where we were today.
I mean, and also like just sort of inevitable because the PlayStation 1 to me felt the most like a PC of all those older systems.
That makes sense. Yeah.
At least up systems up to that point. And because I thought the PlayStation 1, I thought the load times were a feature because I had played like PC games and I was like, oh yeah, loading. That's like what my computer does.
Nintendo has always kind of had their finger in the pulse of like arcade games more than anything else they make. I mean, Nintendo even has come out and said like more than anything else, they just want to make games that are fun. Like regardless of anything else, their games are just really fun. I think arcade games in general lend themselves to that more than like heavy dramatic story. It's like, hey, we're just gonna make Galaga, but we're gonna make it this way. Yeah. With foxes and wolves. Games. And cats with blue armor.
The thing that always attracts me. Good
so
story.
Listener feedback. That's cool.
Yes, we normally have done listener questions.
I hope they're all about Star Wars.
No, they're not. But this week I want to do something different. So I asked people for questions and memories of this game because a lot of people have fond memories of this. Us, not. I don't think as much. But first, I do have a question from David Dump.
We didn't cover our fucking memories of this game.
How did you enjoy the greatest Nintendo game ever? We weren't playing Ocarina of Time this week.
We'll tell you in about 10 minutes when we do Shelfer Box.
But
I'm saying we weren't playing Ocarina of Time. So
yeah, we did play. We played Ocarina.
we weren't playing. We weren't playing. No.
We already played a bunch of Majora's Mask, so
joke, but I didn't.
Yeah.
We weren't playing Super Mario World. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that is a great game. I could take that. This game is not on that. One comment I did have here that at least Stuart can relate to is from Andrew Brozek. He said, "How I feel right now in my non-air conditioned apartment," and he posted a little video where somebody's like, "It's too hot. I can't take it anymore."
Oh yeah.
So that's I thought you appreciate that.
He's driving every fucking day with my lack of AC and.
I should have. You know what I should have said? I should have said Kirby's Dream Course. We weren't playing Kirby's Dream Course. That would have been a funnier joke.
Yes. We'll edit it in. Well, Mike, just cut everything out and just edit that in. And make sure it sounds really like awkward when you do it. Just be like, we weren't playing Kirby's Dream Horse.
Kirby's Dream Horse, not his dream course. His dream horse.
His dream horse.
It's a racing simulator.
Kirby's Dream Course.
None of this is gonna get edited out, right? Because I don't do that.
No, it's all staying.
Kirby's Dream Horse Course.
Don't they say that the best way to know that your content is going to be included in a podcast is by saying to edit it out?
Yeah, cut this out.
Yeah, it doesn't get cut out then. Anything that makes me laugh.
Podcasting.
Okay, another one from Andrew Rafaliski. I guess this should just be me butchering people's last names. I think that's what we're going to start calling the segment. But he said, "I know I'm in the minority. I don't think he is, but beating the game with the true ending the day I got it will never not sting." I mean, a lot of people find that whole thing teary. Like another guy had posted on here that I thought was pretty cool. Like after you finish the game that we had talked about where his dad rescues him, Pepe's like, "What's wrong, Fox?" And Fox goes, Nothing's wrong. Having just been led to safety by the ghost of his father." Someone else had posted that. And I didn't see that ending, of course, because, well, one, I didn't care to go back. But I can see how that can be very touching.
It's like Obi-Wan in Star Wars.
Can I just say that if I beat the game the day that I bought it, back in the 90s when it was like $70 game, I'd probably be pretty mad.
Yeah.
That's what stings, is that he paid the $70 for it and only got 2 hours of content. And then he was like,
you play it on easy, then you play it on medium, then you play it on hard. So 6 hours.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you play all the medals, and then you play the multiplayer.
Or
That's
you
how
just
games
keep
work back
dying.
then.
Yeah, but he said he got the true ending, so that's like almost the end.
I imagine not the first time.
And then he's so
maybe
good at
down.
it that all his friends don't want to play multiplayer with him.
Unless all of his friends are that good too. Maybe they started a
And then-
league. You don't
And
know.
they're like, and then they're like, no, we got an Xbox because it's actually 2002, and you're a loser. We're gonna go play Halo without you. You
No,
go
'cause
play
if
your
you're-
baby games.
If you're the kid that's bad at multiplayer games, you're in charge of morale. That's what I always did. If I'm bad at anything in a game, and our guest Sam, who I play every game with, can attest to this. Whenever I like feel like I'm not doing any work in any game, I just decide that I'm in charge of morale. I just do stupid shit to bring the morale up of the team.
Does that work?
It works for me. My morale is all time high.
Okay, this is not really a question, but this is, I do want to, I guess kind of feedback from Karen Ryhill. Man, that's going to be a new name in a second when I butcher your last name. I don't know. She said, that's the game that I played for the first time on national TV.
Oh, wow.
And then people had asked, and I had to mention it because I thought it was pretty cool. Apparently, it was on a 90s Canadian show called Video and Arcade Top 10.
Wait, did she play, the game was played by her for the first time on TV? Or
yeah,
she
played it for the first time, and it was on national TV. Not the first time the game was played.
That's awesome. That's so
but
cool.
I thought that was really cool, so I wanted to bring that on the show. So
I thought
if you
she
do
said,
listen to
I'm on national TV, and I played Star Fox 64 for the first time while I was on it. That's what I thought she meant, but...
I think that's what she meant.
But if she
That's
played
cool.
it... Either way, it's cool.
None of us have been on national TV. But hey, if you want to invite us, we're free.
Okay.
Who says we haven't been on national TV? I was on Slime Time Live.
I think I was on the news one time. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I think Kendall's story was more impressive.
I was in the background.
I was in the bleachers. It wasn't like I was, but you could see me because I was sitting in, because I was like, it was like the back row of the bleachers, and the row was like the handicapped row, but I was like sitting in the handicapped row, so you could see me.
Yeah,
I was way
on, like,
older than all the other people there.
So you're just way taller too.
Yeah.
Standing out.
I was like in 8th grade. Everyone else was like 12. I mean, was like 11.
I can say I've been on.
I don't know.
I think
How
I've
old are
been on a few Weather Channel reports because they always do the. I for those who don't know, I live on the East Coast in Virginia, and so they always do like the big hurricane reports out here. And
Lives
so,
in Silent Hill.
yeah, basically. Actually, yeah, it is really foggy out right now, so it is creepy. But yeah, whenever there's a hurricane coming, they always like go out to the beach and they find some like random pool and they're like, oh, look at the waves because it's slightly windy outside today. And so whenever we saw that as kids, we'd always like try to drive down to the beach and find them so we could be the idiots in the background of their shot, walking by.
See, hers is cooler because hers was actually like she was actually there talking to her, not
Actually
Hey,
featured.
look at that guy
yes.
riding his bike in the background.
Yeah. Hers was like a purposeful event. We like to be the idiots who, like, while they were talking about how a Category 5 hurricane was going to kill us all, we like to be the guys who were just walking casually in the background, like not caring about anything. It's way less impressive.
Got a couple questions I want to read. Another memory here from the Overblood group. One from Sparky Jones. Each monkey boss yells something just before they explode. Which of these phrases is your favorite?
Yeah.
Hell, I didn't even know they yell anything until I just read this question.
I think there's one that just screams like right before he explodes, and I like that.
I mean, that's what I would do. You're blowing up my mech. I think there'd be a lot of screaming involved, knowing that my life is about to flash before my eyes.
Yeah, I've been hit. Ah.
My favorite thing was the one Stefan said, where it's just like the over the top joke about your dad being dead. Like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite
I don't-
things.
Dad's not.
I don't
gonna see
remember.
a thing.
Yeah, I don't remember if this guy what he said when he died, but I really liked the one ship that it's got like three or four different phases of it's like the first one that you have to shoot at the yellow boxes. I think it's the second level. And he's like, I give up. You're better than me.
Oh,
I surrender. If this does not work.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was funny.
the guy
Stupid.
who is obviously like, he's like obviously fake surrendering. And Peppy even has to chime in and he's like, Fox, watch out. He's clearly planning something.
Yeah, it was like, I can see his shields are at 50% right now.
Yeah. It might as well have been him going like, "I surrender, you got me," and turning around and you see he's got a knife in his hands. Like, go ahead and put the handcuffs on me if you dare.
I thought you were gonna say he had his fingers crossed.
His fingers, obviously. One of his hands, his fingers are crossed. The other one, he's just holding a knife.
Oh,
it's like something like What We Do in the Shadows or something, where it's like, I'm surrendering. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're clearly not.
One from Emmanuel. He said, "Can you even barrel roll, bro?" Yes, I can.
No, you can't, because you're in a ship, so you have to do an aileron roll.
But Star Fox Land.
I think it's aileron. I think that's how you say it, but I prefer saying aileron. Well,
yeah.
It just sounds better.
Batu, Barata.
All right, 2 more things I want to read. One from Daniel Jones, who was just on the show last week. Have any of you played Starlink? I've been wanting to play it since it seems like a spiritual successor to Star Fox, but I just haven't had the chance.
What is it?
We got nothing.
Oh, Starlink?
Starlink, the one that has the Arwing that we mentioned earlier in this episode. I just wanted to mention it because he was on the show.
Maybe one day. Maybe we'll throw it on the show.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I will say, like, just sort of in general, I wish that there were more high profile flight simulator games out there. I feel like
it's combat.
I mean, I'm sure that that's good. I probably should play some of them.
Oh yeah,
but,
I mean they're over the top like Japanese like story games.
But like in the last 15 years, 20 years, the shooter I think has developed, over time, so that like controls are really good. It feels really good. They've kind of almost perfected the genre, where I don't feel like that same evolution has occurred in flight sim games. And I mean, really, I just, to quote my best friend Nick, I just want another X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Like, I want a game that is because in the 90s these games were the best of the Microsoft Flight Simulator was like, oh yeah, this game that everybody loved. I
remember when Google Earth came out and you got Google Earth just so you could play the flight sim, man.
Fly your Cessna into the Twin Towers back when that was a funny joke because the 9/11 hadn't happened.
Yeah,
long time ago at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it. But there was this whole era of these like really great flight games, and I mean, honestly, as well as this one holds up, this one wasn't like even at the time wasn't even like one of the best ones. Like, but they sort of. I mean, I'm sure maybe the innovation has continued. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should just shut up and play Ace Combat or.
I mean, just play Ace Combat, but also I feel like a lot of. It was like a divide in the path where like shooters kind of developed a standard and they all follow that basic standard now. Whereas flight sims were like, I feel like they're still all over the place where you still have like your Ace Combat games, which are pretty like basic controls. But then like a bunch of other flight simulators want to go like all out and require you to get a bunch of periphery with it, like the actual stick and like headset. And it's just, some of them ask you to spend so much money on just like stupid stuff that you don't need. And it's like, if you didn't do that, maybe you'd be selling a lot more copies of your game if you weren't asking people to buy a cockpit to build around their computer.
Yeah.
You have some smaller stuff like Ace Combat does pretty is pretty good. I think I haven't played World of Warplanes, but I know some people who've said it's fairly fun. The problem is whenever there's a flying sequence in a game, it's always secondary to some other aspect, like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new one, which don't play, it's awful, but they have it's mainly a shooter, but you also have like the Starfighter mode, which is slightly better.
I've heard that Battlefront 2 has gotten a lot better since its release, and it's also like $10.
It's better, but it's also like it's better for the wrong reasons. It's better because they were so desperate to make it a good game, and it's like, well, why didn't you just do that when you released it?
I don't care. One of these days.
I got one last thing to read.
Oh, and actually, another good flight sim is there's actually a rail shooter within the Old Republic MMO that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. I was not expecting that.
You could go play Lair on PS3 with a Move controller. That's a good flight simulator.
Oh god.
Everyone remembers that.
I own it. They
Just-
passed
oh,
out. You
no.
have to play it without the 6-axis controller, and I really want to because I love dragons. But
Just find out if you can still play the Google Earth flight sim. I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
all right. And last memory that I want to read is from Kyle Hillard. I used to ride my bike up to my local Blockbuster and play the game on the store's N64 display unit. I played it long enough on at least one occasion to beat it, and I remember one of the employees being impressed that I was able to finish it. I just thought that was really cool. Plus, he's
That's
from
pretty
Game
impressive.
Over. I wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah, I think that's before they had that internal clock in it too, where it wouldn't reset after 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Right?
that shit's annoying.
Yeah.
You can only
They
play like
were-
that first demo level.
They were just
Yeah.
like normal at that time. They were just normal, like you could just a system hooked up to a TV, and that's all it was.
That's how I
Yeah.
played. That's how I played the first Star Wars Battlefront 2 initially. Was on like the demo mode inside of a Walmart. We go to Walmart. My mom would go shopping, and I would just immediately run over to the gaming section and play the demo over and over and over again. And at some point, my mom was like, "Do you want to just get this game? Like, you can just get this game." Like, I was playing it so much that I think at that point it was already down to like $30. She was like, "I will spend $30 on you." Really?
I love you, son.
I will make the effort to spend $30 on you, child. That's like $1 bajillion, Mom.
That's super nice
Are
of
you
her, though.
That is.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but then I had beaten the entire game, and thankfully they had changed the demo shortly after, so I didn't have to only play Battlefront at Walmart anymore.
Are you guys ready for Shelf or Box?
I think so.
Sure.
All right, I'll go first. I think it's quite obvious the way I've been talking about this game off and on this episode. It's going in the box. I mean, it's a good game. I liked it, but I have no attachment to it, and I honestly can never really. Much as I'm curious to see the hard path, to see the ending, I can't see myself actually hooking up an N64 controller and decide to do it all over again. I don't see it happening.
Mhm.
So it's going in the box, and it's a decent game, but I want nothing to do with it again. I'm good. Stefan, how about you?
Yeah. So, like I said, I got this for Easter, and of course, I went through every single path you could possibly do. You can even divert paths in between paths to create other paths. And even after like years of not having played it and gone back to it, I mean, it still holds up as a good game. It's not like it was bad or anything. So I'd put it on the shelf just for being, a good, competent game, but I don't plan to play it again for maybe a long time. I don't know, but it's still a good game, so I'll put it on the shelf.
How about you, Kendall?
It's a shelfer. It's a shelf. It's like underneath my copy of Superman for N64 usually, but it's still on the shelf.
N64 should not be on anybody's shelf.
But I mean, realistically,
Every game is somebody's
I
favorite game.
would say that I would pull this out for a party. The best thing about it is I feel like the controls are simple enough if you've played it, but still not intuitive enough if you haven't played it, that if I practiced for a week, I could be good at it. And then people would come to my house and we would play multiplayer and they would be bad at it. And then I could feel good about myself, because that's really my dream, is to be the guy that owns the game, be that asshole kid. It doesn't usually work though, because I'm just I'm so inherently bad at video games that even if I get a game and practice, and then my friends come over having never played it before, they still kick my butt. But I feel like this one might be different.
Nice. I just make Mike play survival horror. That makes me feel good.
It does not make me feel good, bastard. Oh, how about you, Stu?
I'm gonna put this on my shelf. Actually, I had a lot of fun playing this game. I haven't played it in a long time. I haven't played it for probably 15 years. But I had a lot of fun going back to it and playing it, and trying to remember which paths I used and trying to get that hard hitting, which I was unable to get this time, but I've gotten in the past. I know that it's funny because it's so restrained, but it does have some real emotional weight behind it. So I know that got me as a kid. I haven't played very many Star Fox games, but I really enjoy Star Fox 64. Part of it is also me being a huge Star Wars fan. There's so much Star Wars in this game that I just love. I mean, I was joking about it, but this game really does have a lot of Star Wars influence on it. Characters will repeatedly say like, "I've got a bad feeling about this," and you've got a main character named Dengar, and there's a ton of references packed in.
See, I didn't realize that until we did this episode. I didn't catch those for some reason.
Yeah,
it's called Star Fox.
Yeah.
Star Wars Fox.
It didn't click.
That's actually going to be the name of the new movie, is Star Wars Star Fox 64, The Last Star Fox.
You know what? It can't be worse than episode 8. So
hey, I thought parts of it were okay.
We're okay.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I wasn't expecting it to have the same. I wasn't expecting it to be as enjoyable as it used to be. I thought the age would kind of like start to show itself, but I mean, like it kind of did. But it's still just a really fun little experience. It's a fun little rail shooter. I really thoroughly enjoyed playing this. It's definitely staying up on my shelf for a while. Ask me again in like another 15 years, maybe not, but we'll see.
So yeah, I was the only outlier.
To be fair, almost every game goes on my shelf. That game's got to be pretty shitty for me not to put it on there.
Maybe one day I'll keep track of this, huh?
Yeah.
One day I'll come on and I'll guest on. If I'm going to guest on an episode, it's probably going to be a game that I'd put on my shelf. I'm not going to be like, no, that shit game that I've never heard of. I want to be on that episode.
The funny thing is, if we started a spreadsheet for this, because we have like rotating guests constantly now, the spreadsheet would be like 10 pages long, and it'd be like one name,
huge.
one vote.
That's why I never done it.
You're like, Stuart, 64 shelvings. Random guest number 45, one shelving.
What you guys got to do is you guys just wait until you have like a super fan that does that for you.
That's the plan.
Like one of those fans that's like uncomfortably obsessed with the show, and
yep.
We just have to always have he's on a watch list for like, is he stalking us? We don't know.
I want to have over 100 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't think we're on Wikipedia yet. I'm pretty sure.
He runs the wiki and gets upset when anybody goes on there and gets any information wrong.
He's also Russian counterintelligence.
Yeah. he's trying to influence our voting.
I'm sorry to let you guys know we are not on Wikipedia yet. So
I've rigged the system.
But Stefan, why don't you introduce what bullshit, shitty ass fucking thing you're making us play next week?
God, okay.
I hate you right now.
It is not bullshit. It is not shitty. It is a classic, a timeless classic called Resident Evil, and that's it. Just the first one.
One of the best games ever made. What bullshit are we playing?
Oh God, don't eat. Oh, you wait till next week. We're playing the remake, the 2002 remake. I'm playing the HD version, but it's all the same game, so it doesn't matter.
You'll be playing it. Stefan and I will be living it.
Yeah.
You guys must have some terrible living conditions then, huh? Got dead bodies laying around the floor. You know, people trying to grab you and hug you and bite you.
Burn them. I don't trust them to get back up.
Lots of herbs.
You live in Arizona, so there can be lots of herbs, I think, aren't there?
Nothing but red herbs.
Yes.
Does nothing for you, but I just take away.
Oh, and that should be an interesting one next week. All right. Well, I want to. Any last things you guys want to say before we start plugs?
Play Star Fox.
Yep. May the fox be with you.
All right, Kendall, since you're our guest, you want to give another quick shout out to your podcast?
Yeah, so you can find everything I do at kendallcast.ninja. Just quick elevator pitch. My big projects right now. We've got That's What We Call Music, a song-by-song review of the Now That's What I Call Music podcast. There's a question mark at the end of the name. I did not speak it with Upspeak. I apologize. We got Beyond Bulbasaur, where we talk about a random Pokemon every episode. And then I got my big project this year is the Star Wars Roundtable discussion, available on the Kendallcast master feed. That just go to Kendallcast on your iTunes and get all the things. And we're talking about a different Star Wars movie every month in the lead up to Rise of Skywalker. We just recorded our A New Hope episode. So if you're a big fan of all the prequels, go back and listen to all the prequels episodes.
I should listen to the New Hope one. I haven't listened to that yet.
Yeah, well, I haven't posted it yet.
Oh, then I wonder I haven't seen it.
We just recorded it. We just recorded it, which means in 2 to 7 weeks, I will get around to posting it.
Yeah, you're not like me, where we record something the next day. I like for these the next day I post it.
Yeah. As soon as we finish this, I process it.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Otherwise, I'll forget.
Yeah, that too. But I try to get these up real fast. So, all right. Another want to give a quick shout out to other podcasts I mentioned earlier, Zach and Dean, the Geek Machine. So if you guys need a new podcast to add to your repetition, you got 2 more to add into your cycle.
Hey.
And
or 3
we should give a quick
first time listening. Yes.
And we should give there might be some people that'd be the first time listening to the episode. I think every week we get new people. I don't know if they're still here at this point. But every week we get new people.
Goodbye.
They switch out.
If you guys get a chance, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I always will try to post images for the game. This one was a hard one, but next week there should be a fucking ton. Because RE will be easy to post shit for. And I will be lots of crying with it. Because I don't like it.
Just post every death screen you get.
I don't die. I have not died yet, but that's also because I'm using the guide and playing on very easy. So, but we'll see. All right. And want to give a quick shout out to our awesome intro, courtesy of Mike Bulby, a.k.a. Stoney. I said that wrong. This cool kid squad from the EP, Bite the Bullet. Oh, God. So, yeah.
Is that New Kids on the Block or something?
Get a chance, follow him on YouTube. There'll be a link in the show notes. I'm tired. That's all I got.
All right. Everyone have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
I stay up until